So glad you are with us on Wealthy Living New Mexico. Brad Johansson along with Sean Keeney, the founder, and his son Tyler Keeney, financial consultant with Keeney Wealth and Retirement. Guys, thank you for letting me hang with you today.
Man, it's awesome.
What
an honor.
This is good. We're going to enjoy this today. And look, so many of you have now started to make this Appointment TV. Grateful that you are spending time with it. I'm grateful that I get a chance to spend time with you because education is really the foundation of where we're going with all of this. You're trying to figure out retirement. You want to do it only once. It's really tough to do something the first time really, really well, which is why Keeney Wealth and Retirement is here for you. So thank you for spending time with us. We're going to try and maybe refinance your retirement today. And what does that mean? That's what we're going to break into today, because when we talk about it, guys, we talk about, everybody wants to refinance their home if they did this at a bad time, and we can't seem to get to these interest rates that we want on our home. Let's refinance our car. We talk about that all of the time. Tyler, lead me into what refinancing my retirement might look like.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being with us, by the way.
Oh, grateful.
Glad to have
grateful
you.
for the time.
But here's the idea. We update everything in our lives over and over and over. When the newest, best version comes out, we upgrade.
That's right.
Our cars, our mortgages,
iPhones.
Yeah, even with, you get a new iPhone and then you upgrade the software, the software update.
Sure.
It happens with everything else in life, except our money. Most people, they have money that's making interest from a rate that they got 10 years ago.
And never updated.
Never updated. It's stuck. Imagine having an iPhone from 15 years ago. If you care about those things, it would be a lot different than it is today. Or a really old car, that has a lot of problems and a lot of things that aren't working as well as they can today.
Hasn't been updated.
You would do your best and try your hardest to get the best version that benefits you the most.
Okay. If I'm leading into that, Sean, I would like my retirement to benefit me. So what does refinancing it look like then?
Yeah, great question. And it's something that a lot of people simply aren't aware of. And we've been doing this TV show for over a year now. Thank you, New Mexico, for tuning in. I would say this is one of the top ones where people call in.
Because everybody has a question about it.
Exactly, and it's a topic that they haven't been exposed to or they haven't thought about yet. So what are we talking about here? Really, interest rates have risen sharply the last 4 or 5 years, right?
And kind of hung there.
And kind of hung there.
Yeah.
They're slowly starting to come down now. But what does that mean? Like you were saying earlier, higher rates are bad for a lot of things, right? Means higher payments on your mortgage, car payments, things like that. But if you have money, for example, in retirement plans, in things like bank CDs, bonds, annuities, higher rates are actually positive because when you have money and rates are higher, you can make more money.
Yeah.
That's really what this show is about today, and just educating people. There's still this opportunity out there that exists to improve your situation, make more money on the money you already have in your portfolio.
It's kind of about preparation, and we will always get to planning. That the idea is if you don't plan for your retirement, Uncle Sam's got a plan for you. Everybody's got a plan for you in retirement if you don't have one for yourself. Well, am I ready for this? Do I know the questions that I'm supposed to ask? Well, the Keeneys have put together a quiz for you. The idea is to make this simple, right? What do I need to know? How do I ask the questions that I'm supposed to ask? And what are the answers to am I ready for this? kwealthquiz.com. You can go to the website. We'll make it really easy for you. You just scan this QR code that's right on your screen. Why would I want to do that? Because you don't want to hide your head in the sand and say, I just hope this works. This will give you an idea of what you need to plan for. Very user-friendly, really simple for you to go to, answer a few questions. I'm going to leave that up for you. So you can scan this QR code on the screen to say, am I ready? What would I need to be ready for? Okay, higher interest rate environment. Can I take advantage of high interest environment, Tyler, in what I have now financially, portfolio-wise, things that I'm supposed to change in getting ready for my retirement?
Absolutely, you can take advantage of it. And it's as simple as coming down and seeing what you've got. If you don't know what you've got, how can you ever make an upgrade? If you don't know where you're currently allocated, maybe you have the best rate today. Maybe you don't. But it all starts with a conversation. If you come in and we see we have things that we can fix, we'll go ahead and do that. And then you can take advantage of those higher interest rates. But if you never know, you'll never know. And if there's room for upgrades, then let's make those upgrades. But let's find out first.
So is it fair enough, Sean, to say that a lot of people don't know what they have? Is what Tyler's saying?
We see it all the time. Folks just kind of bring in their POS, their pile of statements. I don't know what this is, and they don't really understand it. Let me give you a quick example of someone that we recently met off of our TV show, taking advantage of these higher rates. Okay, she was retired already, 64 years old. She had an older annuity that was giving her a lifetime income stream. Okay, right. She got that annuity 9 years ago when interest rates were much lower. And her annual income from that annuity was $15,000 a year. We showed her simply by upgrading to a similar account, but simply because the rates are higher, we got her a big raise. I'm talking a big raise. Her income went from $15,000 a year to $24,000 a year. Simply by making the change
changes her life
to a product with a higher rate, and you just hit it right there. She was almost in tears, because she's a widow, limited income, every dollar counts. Wow, she said, you guys just gave me a $9,000 a year raise, and it almost brought tears to my eyes. So it really helped her.
Because that's the idea of what you're doing all the time. Is the hope is we can always change people's lives for the better. That's why you guys are doing what you're doing right now. In looking at that, and I want to point to it, she had an annuity from 9 years ago, which starts exactly what you talked about, Tyler, is if you can have an upgrade. Maybe people who have purchased an annuity a decade ago and said, you know what, this thing's horrible. This never works. This is why I don't do annuities. This is why people say I don't like it, is because the timing was wrong on exactly where they were going. Why is the timing so beneficial? I guess that's why we start this program on refinancing your retirement. Because the interest rates feel unfavorable in this venue, doesn't mean that they're not the most favorable in this venue. And for your 64-year-old widow, it changes her life because the solutions of the annuities are now better, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit on something that's really powerful, and a lot of people need to understand. It's the timing of when they made that decision. A lot of people don't like the word annuities because of that reason. Well, I only made 1% a year for 10 years. Okay, well, that's not the annuity's fault. The annuity did what it was supposed to do. But what was wrong here is the government had very low interest rates. Now that interest rates are higher, the annuity can do the same thing that annuity is designed to do, but at a much higher speed. Think about it this way, the annuity was locked in first gear. Now since interest rates are higher because they're so interest rate sensitive, now we can go up to that fifth and sixth gear and get you much more return in a safe product, which is outstanding.
And because the interest rates have now changed for a lot of these things, the competition changes, which means the solutions are better, because you have to make it more advantageous and lucrative for the customer to say, I would like this. Look, you taking this quiz, scanning this QR code to say, man, do I have some questions that I probably need to answer, gives you an idea to say, holy cow, maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I do need some help leading my way. Maybe I simply need a second opinion about whether or not I need to refinance. And that's when you probably want to make a call to 877-697-6236 so that we can at least take a look at what you have. Do you even know what you have? Do you know what could be better? Because the idea is to make your retirement the one of your dreams, to make money last for the rest of your life. Could you be one of those people who suddenly turned $15,000 into $24,000 a year? And what the difference that $9,000 could make? Maybe it's significantly more. Maybe you have options that you never realized were there. 877-697-6236. Let's put together a complimentary written financial plan just for you, because we don't know where you are. Maybe you're not sure where you are. Like some help? That's what we're here for. We're back after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you. As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Hey, so glad you are with us on Wealthy Living New Mexico. Thanks for joining us. Brad Johansson along with Sean and Tyler. And we're working on refinancing your retirement, trying to figure this whole thing out. What does it even mean? You wanted some safe income, so maybe you have dabbled in the bond market. Bonds are safe, right? Well, then we hit 2022, Sean, and we realized, hold it, this doesn't actually mean that I'm in a good situation. Tell me why we're in a different situation with bonds right now.
Great point. So bonds, we've all seen it on our 401k statements, our investment statements, that pie chart that shows 60% in stocks, 40% in bonds, right? We see it all the time. So bonds historically have been that kind of buffer in your portfolio that is more conservative than stocks, right? And that historically bonds were able to provide some income and some yield, more like 4, 5, 6%, right? So they were a piece of your portfolio that worked well for many, many years, that 60-40 split. But what's happened to bonds recently, and this is another thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to, because interest rates have risen, bond yields have gone down. It kind of works like a seesaw.
An inverse effect, yeah.
An inverse effect. When interest rates go up, the value of your bonds go down. If you bought a bond 5 years ago that was paying 3%, but rates have gone up and someone can go out and buy that same bond and now today get 5%, who's going to want to buy your 3% bond? So the only way you can sell that bond is to sell it at a loss.
Yeah.
So most bond funds that we see, and this is the typical big box firm out there, this is their safe alternative is bonds. Look at any bond fund the last 5 years as rates have gone up. I can show you tons of examples where they've lost 15%. In something that's supposed to be safe, you're losing money and you're only yielding now maybe 2-3% instead of 5 or 6%.
So in the change of that, and let me kind of piggyback on the 60-40, have we kind of gone out of favor, or at least this is what we were told for decades, let's do 60-40. And the adjustments now mean it isn't just a set it and forget it 60-40 type of thing for anybody anymore.
Exactly. That it's kind of an old, it used to work well maybe 20, 30 years ago, but kind of like Tyler talked about, things change. The world changes. Now that 60-40, just kind of set it and forget it, portfolio isn't working as well because of big changes in interest rates. And there's a lot better option than bonds out there. People just need to be educated and learn about them and have an open mind about it.
Tyler, let's go to the positives as the rates increase, and we have increasing rates. Everybody says, okay, if the rates are increasing, this means bad for me. Everything creates opportunity. What are the positives about the increasing rates that we can use as our positives now?
For sure. One of the main ones that I like to think about is I know that when I retire, which is
You got a few years away, Tyler.
A while down the road.
You got a minute.
But the thing that I want to, the idea I want to portray here is that you can get a pay raise in retirement. It sounds counterintuitive because you're not working anymore, right?
Uh-huh.
That seems like a weird idea. Like, how can I get a pay raise? I'm not working. But we can show you how. We just did it with one of our clients, this story that we just told, how her income went up by $9,000. And that's just one of the many cases that we see on a daily basis. Increase your income just simply because rates are higher.
Locking in those rates as they are now. And we talk about this all the time. Let's use the rules that we have in place right now to our advantage.
Absolutely.
Okay, so kwealthquiz.com is up. I want to make sure, if you are just walking in and haven't heard, this quiz to give you an idea, am I ready to retire? Are there other questions that I need to know about getting ready to retire? Scanning the QR code here takes you through just a couple of minutes of this quiz to give you a score. I love quizzes that you can't fail. Well, you can't fail this quiz, but it can give you knowledge to say, where am I? What do I need to know? How do I move forward on this? Spend some time on that as we continue to talk about this. In the refinance, what's the biggest takeaway of the rules, Sean, the way they are now, to say, as I kind of said, we've created a competitive environment and many of these are insurance companies to say, all right, I'm going to use some of these rates to change it. And even as we sit, products, solutions have become more beneficial because they are desirous of getting more business, better rates, better options for people to create longer income that lasts beyond that is now. And the timing is significant. We talk about it really tough to time a market, but the timing of interest rates is very clear. Get it while you can get it.
Exactly. This window of opportunity of higher rates, it's not going to be around forever. So like Tyler said earlier, a lot of times in retirement and in a lot of things in our life, timing is everything. So we encourage people, come in, get a second opinion on maybe those bonds that you're in, or old annuities, or old bank CDs. But because of higher rates, like you mentioned, there's a lot of big institutions like insurance companies that can afford to pay more.
Sure.
They can offer some incentives for you, like bonuses, things like that. There's long-term care components. One thing I forgot to mention about that client where we upgraded her annuity and it gave her a $9,000 a year
$15,000 to $24,000
income
a year.
raise.
Yeah.
We were also, because of higher rates, able to put a long-term care rider on her annuity. What does that mean? Okay, so she's getting $24,000 a year income, like a paycheck every month. If she ever needed long-term care, this new upgrade we did for her that she didn't have in her old annuity, it would double her income from $24,000 a year to $48,000 a year for 5 years if she needed long-term care to help cover those kind of expenses. Then her income would revert back to the minimum of $24,000 a year. That's just an added benefit that we got into the product at no extra cost just because rates are higher.
It's hedging a benefit, and now because we have the rules in place right now, sometimes you have products, solutions that are Swiss Army knives that do more than one thing just in case, because that's all we're doing, Tyler, is constantly planning for the what if.
Right.
Do you have a plan for the what if? Hopefully you've taken the quiz. We've left that up for you right now because many of you have this question, all right, if this is my time, how do I take advantage of it? You make a phone call to 877-697-6236. For many of you, this seems really complicated. because you haven't done it before. Use the people who have done it tens, hundreds, even to thousands of times to make it work for you. If you've been with somebody who's a one-size-fits-all, maybe it's time to run, or at least get a second opinion to say, I would like this to fit my life and my retirement the way I'd like it to be. 877-697-6236. Are you ready? What are you waiting for? Do this for yourself. Make the call. We'll be back. Much more to talk about after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination rain on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
So glad you're with us on Wealthy Living New Mexico. Brad Johansson with Sean Keeney, Tyler Keeney, Wealth and Retirement. Grateful for your time here. Thanks for spending it with us. Use it wisely. That's why we've put up the quiz as well. If you want to take the quiz, this gives you an idea of where you stand. Do it very quickly. We're going to run out of time because we're talking about refinancing your retirement. And it's interesting that I just said we're going to run out of time. Are you going to run out of time on refinancing? Yes, because the timing on this and interest rates, they're finite and they will change. So, Tyler, when you look at a lot of the people that you've been dealing with, people are coming in, we want options. What is a first meeting coming in looking like, and what are you trying to do with somebody who is simply looking for a second opinion at this point? I don't want you to change anything, but it's just kind of like a second opinion to make sure I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, we say all the time, we get second opinions on everything. Our health, all of these other topics in our life that are important. Why not get it with your money and your finances? And what we do is we just try to understand where you're at, what your goals are, where do you want to be? Who are you? We're trying to work with people that we want to work with, and we're trying to get to know people and see where they're at, what they have, and if they have something that's a good plan, we'll let you know. We're not going to prescribe you a medicine you don't need. Yeah. But if there's maybe your blood pressure's creeping up a little bit, we'll point it out, and we'll make the adjustments accordingly.
Kind of doing the financial blood work on all of this.
That's exactly right.
I think for a lot of people who have been stuck in company-guided plans, stuff that we're supposed to do. You're in a 401k with limited options, 457, 403b. It's the company's money to do with what the... Now this is opening the world up to different options. How much do you do things differently with each person coming in now to try and create that personalized plan to say, man, I didn't realize I had this option now?
That's such a great point, and we hear it all the time. Wow, I didn't know this option was available, or this product, or this strategy. And that goes back to, and a lot of folks out there watching, you may be asking yourself, why should I work with Keeney Wealth and Retirement as opposed to one of these big box firms? Let me give you a couple of reasons. I consider myself an insider because I used to work at one of these big box firms, and they're great people, but they're kind of stuck in an outdated way of managing your money. Pretty much all we see is 60% stocks, 40% bonds like we talked about.
Yeah.
We really don't see when people come in, I've looked at thousands of portfolios from these kind of one size fit all big box firms. They're all the same. There's nothing in place to guarantee a lifetime income. There's nothing in place. What if a healthcare emergency pops up, like long-term care? There's nothing in place to help reduce those taxes, stuff like that. So working with a boutique firm like ours, an independent firm, I'm not beholden to any one company. I'm contracted with about 50 large financial institutions, so I can truly sit down with you and shop, if you want to think of it that way, for you. You tell us your goals, your objectives, how you're situated, and we can truly go out on the open marketplace and shop for the best of breed, the best products, services, strategies that are available that'll help you the most, as opposed to when I used to work for a big box firm. As an advisor there, you're given what's called the grid. It's just a limited, like you said, a limited choice of funds and strategies that you can put people into.
Because they're so large, they can't benefit individual plans the way they work it and what you're doing.
Exactly. They're big. They're so big, they kind of just have to put everyone into these cookie cutter plans, where if you work with someone that's local and independent, I'm a fiduciary as well, you can get a lot more personalized advice.
I think probably that's what we're all after,
Yeah.
is a little bit more personalized advice. I don't want to be in a cookie cutter form that says I'm supposed to retire just like my neighbor who's living a very different life, or somebody at the water cooler at my work who's living a very different life. I'd like my retirement to look exactly like I'd like it to look, meaning it's now personalized for me, with as many options as I possibly have to make it last as long as I have breath in my body. Now's your time, because plenty of you have been watching and saying, someday I'm gonna make a call. I'm gonna keep watching this. Someday I'm gonna make a call. How about you make today day one? 877-697-6236. We can't wait to see you in the office. Thanks so much for spending time here. We'll be right back here next time on Wealthy Living New Mexico.